Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 25 of The Little Pod of Horrors, the best idea since premarital sex on Halloween.
Hang on a second. Isn't that my line?
Sorry, forgot. I just got so used to doing it on my own. Gordon's here, everybody.
Yay! Hello, everybody. I'm back. Well, at least for a show, anyway.
Yeah.
Hopefully we can make it more regular, but I am back. And I've watched horror movies and everything. So
Really?
Yes, and I've got stuff to talk about. It's awesome.
Get hell.
I know. Sorry, on you go.
As I said, the problem is I got a little bit carried away with the getting guests in thing. So even though Gordon's back, we actually still have a guest. So we are amazingly privileged to have the one and only one Mr. Richard Smith with us today,
Hello.
ladies and gentlemen.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
I've watched horror films for this.
Yeah.
And we say thank you for that.
Yeah. I've actually seen a lot of horror films for this.
Really?
Yeah.
You probably watched more than us combined then.
A couple a night.
Oh my god.
Yeah. I'm just as I speak, I'm kind of just scrolling through the horror section of Netflix. I think it's most of them.
There's some real shit on there as well.
Yeah.
This is going to be fun.
Yeah, there is.
Awesome.
So, I think what we're going to do is we're just going to do our normal "What have you been watching?" thing, and I imagine that's going to be the show. Actually,
Probably, especially if Mr. Rich has been watching lots of shit.
So much shit. Oh my god.
Welcome
Honestly,
to the horror genre.
so much. Yeah. Is it bad to say I haven't seen one that I thought was a genuinely good film yet? I don't want to
probably
be
about
overly
right.
harsh. I don't want to come onto a horror movie show and go, but they're all shit. Because ultimately, I've watched them all, so, they can't be that bad. Kind of
That's
are,
very
though.
true. No. Yeah. I mean, it's very difficult to find a really good one. So it's pretty good that you've watched a lot of shit, so that when you get to a really good one, you'll really appreciate it more, I think, than starting at the very, very beginning and watching a classic or something, and then everything else will seem really bad compared to that. So
I have to say it's very easy to put on films like that when you're doing it in a not so discerning manner, and just not be able to make it to the end of them. So the fact that you've finished so many movies is actually, it means you probably haven't picked ones that are that bad.
I must stress, I'm kind of usually doing something else while they're on as well. Which kind of helps. Because some of them just don't grab me. I have a very odd sort of set of criteria for picking one as I'm going through the list.
okay.
Generally, if there's a named actor that I recognise, I will avoid that one. I think I'm actually subconsciously picking out the shit ones and watching them. Maybe there are some really good ones, but I'm just not picking them. So yeah, just so much crap.
Are you using the star ratings much?
There's no
It's
point.
because they're all 3 stars, aren't they?
No, I don't. They're all one.
Oh, jeez.
One or two. If I enjoy one, the most I've been able to sort of happily give it myself is 3. But generally, they're all sort of 2 or 1. That sort of thing.
Oh, that's not good.
No.
We'll have to give you recommendations.
Yes.
If you wish to continue into the horror genre, that is, anyway.
I
Or
do,
maybe you've had
because
enough.
I don't know what it is. There's something about them. I think it's because generally, and I hesitate to say this because it's not necessarily positive, there's not always a lot of plot. The ones I've seen, they fit into sort of 5 or 6 categories. I keep meaning to do a blog post and write them all down. But, there's a lot sort of, once you've got the setup, it's just a case of waiting for it all to happen.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of, and the group of people have gone to the cabin in the woods for the summer. But there's a stalker in the woods. Well, I bet they're all dead by the end of the film. And you just leave it playing. And then there's, we've gone to investigate the old insane asylum. I wonder what will happen in this one. Maybe you'll all be dead by the end of the film. After weird stuff happens. Then you've got, because you've generally got we're in the woods and there's something chasing us. We've gone to the haunted place and it turns out it really is. We've got the you've all been kidnapped and someone mental's going to make you kill each other, and a couple of others. But that's pretty much all horror films.
Right, so we now know what the list needs to be.
Yeah, I'm open. I'm open to suggestion.
And I don't think we can argue with any of that.
And a lot of them, you sort of think, well, that was a plot on Star Trek. You know, you stretch the Star Trek episode out into a whole film and taken space out of it. So it's painful. But there are some good ones. I'm looking through the list now. There's some genuinely good films on this list.
Well, do you want to pick one to kick off with then, seeing as your list is... It's not that we haven't seen many, it's just we've probably talked about them before. So if you go through yours and we'll see where we get some common ground.
Okay, well, I mean, just looking at this, it's Netflix Canada I'm looking at for some reason. I just happen to be on Canada at the moment. And the first one that stands out at the top of the list is Cabin in the Woods, which was a great little film. Really enjoyed that one. That was, but while I accept it was technically a horror film, it was... I'm noticing that there are grades of horror film and grades of grossness and shock value and all that sort of thing. And I felt that while Cabin in the Woods was a great film and technically a horror, it was quite toned down in terms of its content. There was nothing I found particularly disturbing or horrifying in it. Whereas, what have we got here? The Haunting in Connecticut 1 and 2. I quite enjoyed those as well.
God.
Did you?
Yeah, they were okay.
Oh, okay.
They were all right.
That surprises me.
I tried to watch Haunting in Connecticut 2, and I turned it off after like 20 minutes.
I mean, these are part of films that one has nothing to do with the other whatsoever. It's just, here's another one, and you bought tickets to the last one, so we stuck the same name on this one. Yeah. It's basically the same film in a different set with different actors.
It may have just happened in the same county.
Yeah. So there's that of it. Let me think, what else do we have here? Again, Red State, that's not a horror film. Netflix's genre sorting for horror, I feel, sometimes goes a bit awry.
The thing is, we had quite a discussion yesterday about this, because defining what a horror film is and why it fits the genre is such a grey area. It's really, really hard to do. I mean, the Cabin in the Woods really is... It's like a Buffy-esque Joss Whedon film about the horror genre.
Yeah.
It's not really, strictly speaking, a horror film, but it has all the tropes and everything in it, so it kind of is. Yeah. So it's right on that line of is it or isn't it? And I think Red State is similar because it uses so many horror film tropes at a certain point of the movie. It's not too errant to put it in that category.
Yeah.
But essentially, as a whole piece, you're like, nah, it's not a horror movie.
It's a great film. I enjoyed it. There are bits that made me squirm. But yeah, at no point, if I'd been asked, would I have described it as a horror film. I seriously doubt that Kevin Smith would. There I go, implying that man knows anything about films, but that's just me. I'm trying to find one that was particularly schlocky that I can talk about. What have I found? Insidious 1 and 2.
Insidious.
Yeah, I enjoyed those. And the one that has the same guy from those in, what was that one called?
The Conjuring?
Yes, I really enjoyed The Conjuring.
It's good, isn't it?
To the point where Alison even enjoyed The Conjuring.
Oh, wow.
And so that's an award that no other horror film will get, to be honest. Because she actually sat in front of it for a bit.
Wow. Well, the thing with The Conjuring is what it does well, and I think the reason it did so well, is it's one of the few horror films I've seen recently where it really made you give a shit about all of the characters. And you genuinely had some concern about what was happening to them. Very often, if you don't establish your characters well enough, when the horrible stuff happens, you're like, nah, that's funny. Whereas, I think they want you to be upset when somebody goes through something horrific, Now, the first one that stands out on my list as one that sort of had nobody in that I recognised and was
seemed to be quite low budget, is called The Caller.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
Now, this was actually quite a good one. And it broke from the list of types of horror films that I mentioned earlier, in that it's about a young girl who gets telephone calls from the past. I'm describing it awfully.
Oh, I've watched
She
this
gets
one.
weird phone calls. It turns out to be a woman calling her from the past. And the woman in the past starts doing things to fuck up the life of the young girl in the present day.
Yeah, I've watched this one.
And there's
I remember you talking about that.
Yeah, and there's nothing she can do about it because it's all already happened in the past. That's one I'd actually recommend that one. I enjoyed that one a lot.
It's a great little movie.
It wasn't technically a Star Trek plot, but it felt like it could have been.
Was it technically a horror movie?
Yeah, I would say so. Not in a gross out kind of way, but certainly in a horrible thing is happening to a person kind of way.
Yeah, it's horrible stuff, and then I think it's a lot psychological as well.
Yeah, psychological horror.
Yeah.
But the one it sat next to that I would really recommend is called Would You Rather, which I watched entirely because it has Jeffrey Combs in.
So did I.
And then it turns out to have Ricky from Trailer Park Boys and that porn star girl that I've forgotten the name of, and the dad from Home Alone was in it as well.
Was it?
Yeah, he was.
I didn't clock that.
He was the guy. So the game is you've got the rich guy who's gathered all these people and he's going to make them do gross stuff to themselves and each other one way or another while playing a game of Would You Rather. And it's sort of like, would you rather be on fire or cut your own eyeballs out or whatever?
Yeah.
And the first dude who is a recovering alcoholic, and he's like, well, I'll give you $1 million or whatever if you drink this bottle of whiskey. That guy is the dad from Home Alone.
That's weird. I didn't spot that.
Who probably has a name.
John Hurd.
John Hurd, of course.
Ah. But Jeffrey Combs just walks around that just chewing all the scenery, and that's what we love him for. I think he was absolutely brilliant in that movie.
Absolutely. And that's how you end up watching The Reanimator.
Yes.
Because I did that as well.
But
And
you probably haven't had a chance to listen, but the show we put out last time with Al, we were doing a film from each decade from the 70s upwards, and my pick from the 80s was Reanimator, because again it's the Jeffrey Combs factor plus it's just batshit crazy, over the top brilliant.
I think in my star rating system you gain a star for having Jeffrey Combs.
Yeah.
So that's a good little one to play in that. I if I were a filmmaker I'd always want to have Jeffrey Combs in my film one way or another.
See, that's a weird little thing, is it? Because you like Jeffrey Combs because of Star Trek, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
You see, I got excited watching Star Trek because Jeffrey Combs was in it, because I was a fan of Reanimator from way back.
Okay.
Yeah, so I already do. It's like, it's Herbert West!
Oh, Jeffrey Combs in Deep Space Nine is genius.
Superb.
I mean, especially the episode, I've dragged it onto Star Trek, especially the episode where he plays multiple characters in the same episode. It's brilliant. Absolutely brilliant.
He could do no wrong in my book.
No, mine too. It's called The Book of How Jeffrey Combs Does Everything Awesomely.
Well, I was thinking to drag you away from your list a little bit, because we were talking about the defining horror thing. Can I talk about a movie I saw last night? Yeah.
It's your show, man. Yeah.
It's quite a show. I went to.
You don't have to ask permission.
I went to the cinema last night, and I was so happy that this was still on, because it came out the same. I don't know whose idea this was. It pretty much came out at the same time as Guardians of the Galaxy. So when the two films came up against each other, it was like, well, obviously I'm going to see Guardians first, and I was not disappointed. But the other one was Purge Anarchy, the sequel to The Purge.
Ooh.
Now, we covered The Purge on the show because it had been billed as a home invasion / horror movie. And I think, Gordon, didn't we have some debate about whether we felt that was correct or not?
I think so. It's definitely a home invasion, but I don't think it belongs in the horror category.
Yeah, and
maybe it can. Yeah. See, I keep changing my mind on these things because I guess it technically could be psychological because of the games that are getting played. So I guess that's the only reason it falls.
Well, this is a discussion we ended up last night after watching the sequel, which I have to say is probably, if not one of the best movies I have seen this year.
Oh dear God, really?
It was brilliant. Yeah, for once somebody had written a film where halfway through I still didn't know how it was going to end. Okay, it's like, you know this guy's out to do something on the Purge night, but you don't know what it is, and you honestly, till the last, like just the end of the movie, you don't find out. But there's so many other things happening along the way, and you know, we think the concept's kind of silly. The new founding fathers made it so that everybody can commit whatever crimes they want in this 8-hour period overnight, one night a year. And we're like, that's bollocks. But what they do is they examine how that would come into being and how the classes sort of view this thing. And it's sort of about the 1% and the 99% a little bit. And they do lots of little subversive things, which I thought were really, really cool. And in various different situations, you've got something in a household, you've got running around in the streets, you've got a guy with a minigun, you've got people with machetes, and it sounds like it's this horrible, horrible horror movie, but it isn't really. There are some bloody deaths, but it's no more than you'd see in the Expendables. So then you come down to, well, was this a horror movie? And it keeps getting categorized as such, but then you realize, well, yes, because psychologically speaking, I had my fingernails dug into the chair. So it probably does come under psychological horror because it's pulling you that way. But I had such a grin on my face at the end, and I was like, finally, somebody wrote a decent movie. I was gobsmacked, to be honest. So.
People keep telling me to watch The Purge, so I might get to it at some point.
It's worth a watch. I think.
If just for the creepy guy with the smile.
Yeah. It depends on your take on home invasions, though. If you don't like the fact of home invasion movies, then stay away from it. I think.
It sounds quite like You're Next, which I watched the other night as well.
What did you think of that?
I enjoyed it more than I expected to. It kind of... There was a minute close to the end where it's sort of the girl left on her own, and you suddenly realize, I feel like I'm in an 80s sci-fi thriller movie because of the soundtrack they'd chosen. It was very odd, but I actually quite enjoyed it. It was full of examples of why would you do that, you idiots, you deserve to die. But apart from that, I realize I have no time for people who do stupid things in horror films anymore. Because there are so many. You just think, first of all, rule number 1, knocked out is not dead.
Yep.
And it will never last long enough for you to actually escape. So if you've knocked someone unconscious, kill them then while they can't fight you back. And,
a lot.
Yeah. And so that comes to mind a lot. That was in a film I watched. What was it called? Was it called Omnivores? Or something like that.
Oh, yes. I haven't seen that one yet.
Because that's another one. People eating people. Omnivores. I believe it was French. I watch a lot with subtitles on, so I miss a lot of sound sometimes.
That's usually a good thing to do. Because a lot of the better horror has subtitles on.
Yes. Most films on Netflix do. It's one reason why I prefer Netflix over Amazon Instant Video, because they don't have subtitles at all. But Omnivores, about the French, he's a food journalist. He's sent on an assignment to go and visit these sort of pop-up restaurants that people have at their houses, which actually does happen, and they are technically illegal. But it happens anyway. And as he's doing that, he gets onto this trail that there's one of these where they eat people. And he eventually gets along to that, and the story unfolds from there. But it's one of the people who are going to be eaten escaping, where they knock out the guy who's doing the butchery, and you think there's a whole array of knives and cleavers and other things just there on the wall. Like, you've knocked him out. Just stick that in him. Just But no, you ran off, didn't you? So he just got up slightly dazed and caught you in 15 seconds. You deserve to be food. It's just... Oh.
Thing is, that it's such a horror trope that they kind of have to do that.
It is a bit. And I totally understand, like if you were put in a situation, could you murder someone? Could you kill someone? I think if they were going to eat me, yeah.
Yeah.
That's on my list of times it's all right to stab somebody while they're unconscious, because they're going to eat me if they don't. So I'm okay with that.
Did you not find that though, with your next, that was the refreshing thing? Because I find the same thing when I'm watching sort of survivor movies like that. You're like, don't go down there, don't do that. And like everything that girl did was just like, oh yeah, I hadn't thought of that. That's quite a good idea, actually.
Yeah. Yeah, I did. I found it quite refreshing. I expected it to be terrible. And the fact that it wasn't terrible is always quite pleasing anyway. But yeah, it worked well. I enjoyed it.
Actually, Gordon, I've only heard your comments on that via recorded comment. Have you had any further thought on it, or do you still...
Oh, it's funny when listening to Mr. Rich talk about movies and I'm going, oh my god, I hate that one, I hate that one, I hate that one. Yeah, I don't know what I was expecting with your next. I think, as I've said, I really like the home invasion trope or subgenre of horror. And I like what they were doing with it. I just couldn't stand really any of the characters that were in there. So I had no feelings for any of them. And it was just, I really wanted them to die really quickly, and I just couldn't care about how they died or what the little twists were in it or anything like that. It just lost me because I couldn't care for anybody in it. I see what they were trying to do, and I like that she was a kick-ass woman who really took no shit. That was a really good take on it. And I didn't like the ending either, so the ending left a bit of a bad taste in my mouth. I don't think they had to put that last 5-10 seconds in there. I think they could have turned it off a little bit.
But didn't you like her?
Personally. Yeah,
because I think she's the only one you're supposed to like.
Yeah, I'm going to say, I did hate
Probably.
every character in it apart from the girl. So I can...
Maybe I'll have to go back and watch it at some point again. I think the hype was a bit much, maybe, and I was going into it expecting too much, maybe.
Me and Gordon often get this, don't we? Because I go and see him in the cinema,
Yeah.
then you get him, DVD, or you get interrupted, or you don't get the same... You're not locked into the movie in the same way.
Yeah. And that was the same thing here. I put it on kind of late at night, and I probably was distracted a little bit by it. And I was, as I said in my comment, I was a little bit off-put by the grubbiness of it. Now, I know that we always talk, and we're loud and proud with the boobometer. With it, we do not shy away from that and stuff, but it seemed very grubby to me at the beginning with the whole kind of young girl, old man, dirty sex scene, and that kind of slightly put me off a little bit. I think it was the kills and stuff the way they did at the beginning were great, but that kind of put me a little bit really. So that kind of started off on a sour note for me, I think, and I might just not have given it as much of a chance as I should have, because I do seem to be one of the very few people that disliked it or didn't like it as much as everybody else.
I think because it was a bit refreshing in what it did, that maybe we are forgiving aspects of it that we normally wouldn't. But when looked at as a whole, you're like, well, because it wasn't, don't go down there, pick that up, make sure he's finished off, whatever, just... I may have rose-tinted specs about it a little bit, I think.
There's nothing wrong with that.
As I said when we walked out, I just said to Lavinia, if we get home invaded, that's how you behave.
Oh, definitely. I mean, she did all the right things. Well, apart from there were a few we don't want to bring your lovely Spanish spoiler into it. But she could have done things a little bit better on some of the kills or the maims or what. But yeah, I'll go back and watch it again, maybe in a couple of years or whatever, if it pops up on Netflix. See if it still leaves me feeling kind of grubby or makes me want to watch it again and celebrate it like everybody else.
I'd actually had a mad idea about these divisive films between us. There's enough of them now that I reckon we could do a series of... I know it's a brave thing to do, and Rich will warn us off straight away. We could do commentary episodes on these films. And just argue through them.
With a death match at the end. Maybe one day we should.
Yeah.
So we should. Because yes, we are building up quite a long list. If you got to crap, yeah, I don't like that one. Yeah, crap. Maybe I'm just not as much a horror fan as I used to be. I don't know. And I just don't have the tolerance for crap anymore. Yeah. I want everything to be too good or so good. I've been spoiled by some of the no, I'm calling them classics. I've been spoiled by some of the awesomeness that we've watched. That I'm expecting everything to be up in that level.
And that's really hard to find.
Yes, it is. So that's why I think I'm maybe being a little bit harsh on some things that I wouldn't have been 5-10 years ago or something like that.
Yeah, these films are the ones we're putting on your list, Rich.
Right, okay.
So, Gordon, you taunted us through Facebook earlier about a film you watched that you enjoyed.
Yeah.
I want to hear what this is, because I'm dying to know now.
I watched one that you haven't watched yet.
And I have to wait a couple more weeks.
You do have to wait a couple more weeks. And it's a very strange one, because I don't think that Fright Fest are doing this movie justice.
Oh.
But because of the time that they're putting it on at. And while if someone could look this up or edit this out, I don't care. But the movie that I watched was All Cheerleaders Die.
Yes, that's one of the ones I'm looking forward to.
I don't want to spoil it. I'm not going to spoil it for you. I think it is a solid B movie. I don't think it tries to be anything other than that. It doesn't have a huge rating on the old the Boobometer.
Really? Oh, you see, that's not good enough.
Yeah.
This is what's annoying with the films they set up like that. It should be the most massively highly scoring one.
That's what I was kind of thinking going into it, but it wasn't. Which when they do it really, really well, and it would be something that I would think would get a huge amount of cheers at a kind of Fright Fest scenario. But unfortunately, they put it on. I can't find this, so you're going to have an edit point here.
Well, you can either have 10:30, 12:45, or 3:45, depending on which screen you're in. And I have no idea how this is going to work.
Yep, and it's a seat. 10:30 on a Saturday. Okay, so you've had your first full day at Fright Fest.
Yeah.
People are going to be tired, and people aren't really going to be. Either some people won't show up for this, or you're going to be kind of sitting there dozing while you try and wake up in the first movie on the Saturday. I think that Fright Fest are doing this movie a big injustice by putting it on there. This should be a kind of 7 o'clock, 9 o'clock, 10 o'clock one on a Saturday or whatever, or Sunday, where people can maybe have a couple of drinks during the day and just have a bit of fun with it. Because I think you can have a good few laughs with it. It is funny. It does play on a different couple of genres, and some supernatural stuff in there as well. Some kind of blackish comedy. But I thought it was really good. I'm not going to want to tease too much on it. I think you'll enjoy it, but I think it's on at the wrong time.
Well, what they're doing this year, because they used to have the Empire screen, which was huge, screen 1. You could get everybody in the same room. Is the View West End this year. So there are 3 screens. You've got the Arrow video screen, the Film 4 screen, the Horror Channel screen, and they're all playing the same movies, but in a different order. Apart from Monday, by the looks of it. The last 2 movies are the same on all 3 screens. Now,
I want everybody to get out at the same time.
Well, obviously, this is the bit I don't know, because I booked my ticket and I booked my seat in that auditorium, but I don't know which one it is. So, am I fixed to one of those screens and I only find out when I get there? Or do I get to choose a screen? I don't know how it works. It's weird.
From what I was reading, I think you're fixed to one screen and one screen only.
Oh, right. So, it's a lottery. It could be my first film on the Saturday, or it could be my 3rd or 2nd. So,
I hope for you it's the third.
I'll be awake.
Yeah. It's a struggle, though, mate. It's a struggle. But I really think this deserves to be like a Saturday night movie, or even the midnight movie that they used to have. But obviously that's going to change now because of the format that they're doing it.
Do you know it's on American Netflix?
Yeah, that's how I watched it.
Right.
I saw the program and I saw that and I went, yes, I can watch this before anybody else at Fright Fest.
I have to say, having the Netflix, the Unblock thing, there are several films that are showing at Fright Fest that I could watch now.
Yeah.
And I am choosing not to. I could have watched Wolf Creek 2 weeks ago.
Oh, the first one of those was so unbelievably shit, it upset me.
Yeah, but Tristan loves it.
Yeah, there's your first fucking clue. Oh, no. Oh, what a horrible film.
Yeah.
What?
I didn't rate it at all.
But he's an old guy and there's three of you. Smash him in. What's your problem? He's not like Michael Myers or something supernatural. He's some old guy in the desert. What are you doing?
And there's a classic case of, he's on the floor, he's virtually unconscious, grab that gun and fill him full of lead.
Yeah. Look, even if you don't have a weapon, I think just stamping on someone's head over and over again is going to really ruin their day. And if they're going to murder you, then probably just go on with that, I think. Oh, dear, I really hated every frame of Wolf Creek, I'm sorry. And they build you up so well at the beginning when is this the one where they go to the place and the guy's watch stops? And you're like, oh, is this going to be a supernatural thing? No, we'll never come back to that. It's just some creepy guy in the desert. That's all it is. Awful film.
Actually, I'm just looking at it. It's not on the list.
Yeah, I think it...
Oh, it's on the Discovery screen.
Yes, so I was going to watch that too, but then it was on the Discovery screen, so I thought, oh, that's not as big a coup, really, as All Cheerleaders Die. I started to watch it, but I only got 20 minutes in. Now, that's not to say that it's a bad movie. The opening scene I actually liked. I thought it was pretty awesome. Kind of harked back a little bit to what I remember in the first movie, or one of the scenes I remember from the first movie. But again, it started to follow a couple of backpackers, and I was just getting kind of lost, so I turned it off. I will go back to it at some point. But
Well, the thing with the Discovery screens is to watch anything that's on them, I've got to decide not to watch something that's on in one of the other screens.
yes,
And
pay to see it.
have you? Oh, it's not included in your pass.
I do not believe so. I could be wrong.
And it says here, Festival Pass, access to all films.
Oh, really? Okay, then that's
Yeah.
my bad. Sorry, my bad.
Hold on. Festival and Day Pass holders are entitled to tickets to see films in Discovery Screens 1 and 2 on a first-come, first-served basis.
Oh, see, I didn't know if that meant for free or you had to pay for them. I assumed they would charge you a couple of bucks or whatever.
I think it's just that
£1.
there's allocations for the room,
Okay.
and if everybody decides they're going to go and see that movie, you've got to just grab a ticket before they run out. I think that's what that is.
See, that's what I kind of thought, because I thought they would be losing money that way. But maybe not, I don't know. Which really is, it pisses me, okay. I don't mean to get off on a Fright Fest one, and sorry Rich, I don't know if you know what Fright Fest
I have
is.
no idea about it whatsoever.
Okay. Over the August bank holiday weekend every year, it has become the UK's largest horror and fantasy film festival.
Okay.
So, was it Thursday night, or it's actually earlier now? It's like Thursday afternoon.
Well, it's Thursday evening. You can
Evening.
kicks off about 6:30, I think.
Yeah, which is getting earlier. So from Thursday evening all the way through to Monday night, it's just wall-to-wall horror. You get, maybe 7 or 8 hours off after, from like 2 o'clock in the morning to 10 o'clock in the morning. But it's pretty full on. And from what I was looking at the guest list and seeing some of the movies, I was just seeing a lot of UK premieres. Seem to be down on the world premieres this year. I don't know if it's getting harder to do because of all the different ways you can release the movies.
Hello, you lovely listeners. It's Boz, your editor. I'm coming to you now with an apology. There's an hour missing from this show. I'm the guy who put a post out this week on the internet moaning about how people use Skype recorders and don't record their end of their conversation and edit them together. Yeah, that backfired slightly. I think I've cursed the world of podcasting, actually. So we were doing just that. We were not running a Skype recorder. I had 2 devices running, recording my audio. Both failed within 10 minutes of each other. So you may have heard the audio drop a bit earlier on my quality. That's because I went to my backup, but my backup ran out of disk space. So before I realised, because I was Wikipediaing, IMDbing, and generally having my ass kicked by Richard for having not seen The Godfather, which was a rather hilarious piece of podcasting that nobody's ever going to hear. So I apologise, and I'm going to drop you in at a completely arbitrary point where I realised the complete screw up that had happened, and I started recording again. I suppose the only consolation is this would have been another massively long show had I not completely fucked it up. My apologies, but maybe, some things you just aren't meant to hear. So, thank you for bearing with us, and once again, I'm sincerely sorry. Bye. Just an edit point, I realised my fucking recording stopped.
Uh-oh.
And also my Zoom ran out of space.
Uh-oh.
So, there may be a gap in the middle of the edit on this.
So next time when I say, shall I do this one on the live server?
Yeah. So I did ask about the call recorder thing.
This is your damn Facebook post has done all of this, boss. You're to stay off Facebook from now on, because otherwise podcasts are never going to work again.
This has never happened to us before.
Nope.
That might just be between us, that bit in the middle there. Fuck's sake.
That means no one's going to hear that you haven't watched The Godfather.
Yeah, let's survive that.
Hang on, are you recording again now?
I am.
Boz hasn't seen The Godfather yet. No, he's seen it and didn't enjoy it.
Yeah, I made it crash on purpose.
Yeah.
That was it. You knew that was coming up.
We don't even know it has. We just got you telling us.
Yeah, that's true. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, we may have lost about half an hour of the show because my stupid computer ran out of disk space.
Or have we?
Of course.
And it was some of the best conversation we've ever had on horror, ever.
Yes.
And we're just never going to get it back again.
No. But at least we enjoyed it.
Yeah, I've had a great time.
Well, I've still got a few movies I'd like to talk about. So
Okay.
I've still got 2 as well. So.
I could
cool.
literally go on for hours.
Have you seen one called Haunt, Rich? Is that on your list? 2013.
Doesn't sound familiar. Doing a quick Netflix search. Oh, yeah, because it is actually on there. Hang on then.
Mm. That's how I saw it.
When a teen moves into a house next door with his family and takes with the girl next door, that adolescent thingies do something.
Yeah.
I feel like I might have started this one and not got all the way through it. I've actually hit play on it to see if it picks up part way through. Yeah,
The
it
thing
does.
with this one,
I've seen the first 21 minutes of it.
I'd finish it actually.
Okay.
Yeah, it's very well filmed, and it's a bit similar to I mentioned like Tristan's shooting style's similar to that Absentia film. This is in that vein, the way it's shot, very similar sort of style. And the thing I loved about this movie, although it's your typical haunted house gribbly thing, they've got this cool little device which is like a briefcase. You open it up and you wind it up and it lets you talk to dead things, which is or cross over to the other side, whatever, just to talk to spirits. It's a cool little device actually, which is quite well done. But the kind of the ghostly apparition in the house is it's a mix of CG and prosthetics, and the prosthetics are really fucking creepy. And there's a couple of scenes where you see this thing, and it is genuinely creepy. I love the way it's shot and the way it looks and everything else. It's really, really well done. Because very often I find with spooky movies is they show you the big ugly, and then you're like, nah, whatever. It's like in Sinister when you just suddenly got the kids running around the whole house. It just breaks all the tension because they don't look scary. That's it, done.
Is that the Ethan Hawke one?
Yeah.
I enjoyed that.
Yeah.
See, I enjoyed it up to the point there's just a house full of kids.
Yeah.
And you realise it's them that have been sort of haunting part of the house or whatever. The boogeyman in it is brilliant, but bringing the kids in I don't know, just ruined it for me. So this one doesn't do that, thankfully, but by the same token, it does fall a little bit flat at the end. But that may be because possible spoiler. I don't think if it was the happiest ending in the world, and I'm not very good with those. Somebody else might absolutely love it. Alison, for example.
Yeah. She doesn't like films to end, really. Yeah, I enjoyed Sinister. That had the thing that made me smile and enjoy that one is where they found out there was something horrible in the house and they went, hey, should we move? Yeah, fuck it, let's move. Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, you're not going to sit there pointlessly being terrorised for months on end. You're just going to move like any sensible human being in the world would. Okay, great. Fine, I've got time for that.
And the concept of the little reel-to-reel movies, they were brilliantly creepy.
Cool.
That was the film I had on when I posted, I think I was posting a picture of this homemade iPad stand I'd constructed. And as I took the picture, what I didn't realise was the iPad was playing the movie Sinister, and it was a still frame of dead people hanging by their necks from a tree branch. And it's like, look what I've made!
In my back garden.
And it's like, what the fuck are you watching, Rich? Just, oh right, yeah, I see what I've done there. See what I've done. That's a horror movie. Don't worry, it's not a photo.
Another one that's worth a look is The Pact.
I feel like I've seen that as well.
I really need to watch that.
They all... I don't remember the names of any of the films I watch, incidentally. So that's why...
If you've watched that many... then
yeah, this is why I have to look them all up individually. The Pact. Feeling obligated to return home for the funeral of the mother she despised, Annie soon senses an evil presence in her childhood home. You watched this on the 30th of January 2014. Thank you, Netflix. Oh, and I gave it 1 star, I'm afraid.
Oh, did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I can't at
least
this
you rate
point
them so you
justify
know.
why I gave it 1 star, but that was where I was clearly at the time.
Have you seen it, Gogs?
No, I haven't. It's on Netflix and has been in my queue for I don't know how long. I just have never really put it on.
See, I liked it because it mixes... Well, I can't even say because I don't want to spoil it because you haven't seen it. It isn't completely what you think it will be, but there are some really creepy moments in it as well.
Okay.
Okay, we can't talk about that one.
I'm scrolling through it now. I think I kind of remember it a bit. But, yeah.
Yeah, there's a room and there's
people in a room. They do
and there's
stuff.
wallpaper.
Yeah.
And there's a creepy thing.
I remember this one. I do remember this one. 1 star feels a bit harsh now.
See, the wallpaper's what gave it away because the poster is a guy pushing through the wallpaper.
Yeah, I didn't. I'm going to give it an extra star. There we go. 2 stars.
I thought it was a stylish.
Hey, it's got Casper Van Dien in it. There you go. That's probably why you give it a star.
Hey, Netflix horror section. It's all good. One way or another. I think I just like the fact that some of them can be quite quiet sometimes. And I find it relaxing. Yeah, I'm so twisted. I relax to horror films. What is that? Wow.
Well, it's quite loud. Yeah. So have you got another one, Gordon?
Yes. Unfortunately, mine's all following a theme. Unfortunately, and that running theme is Fright Fest. Because there was one that that was on last year. That popped up on Netflix and Amazon Prime not that long ago over here. The Conspiracy, which is not really horror, to be honest. It's more a kind of thriller one, which is basically it's not really found footage as such. It's more a documentary about the kind of conspiracy theories. Surprise, surprise. And then they're really delving into this one major conspiracy theory about a big secret society that every time these guys meet, something happens in the world. So stock markets crash, or 9/11 happens, or something happens shortly after this secret society get together. So they're saying it's all these key people in the world that make all this happen.
I too have seen this, by the way.
I quite enjoyed it, actually. I didn't think it was the worst movie in the world. Only 84 minutes long. There's a couple of little twists and turns it takes along the way. If you're a weirdo like me, you do start to sit back and go, really? Oh my god, could this really happen? Is this really what's going on? Oh my god. Knowing full well that that's what it's playing on as idiots like me. Going,
the moon landing was fake.
No, really, it was fake, wasn't it? I don't know. Get wrecked for that one. But yeah, I mean, it killed an hour and a half. I don't really know what was kind of horrific about it, or that would put it in a horror genre. I don't even think there's any kind of psychological horror in it, really.
Huh.
Unless you're kind of freaked out by conspiracy theories and you think this could be happening. I suppose there's a couple of bits in it where they think they're being followed by people. House gets broken into and things like that, and people vanish, but there's nothing really that fits into the horror genre. I think it's more thriller, but I watched it because it was at Pride Fest.
Oh, okay.
It's all right. I mean, it kills an hour and a half.
Yeah, it was. I would go with you on that. There was nothing inherently wrong with it at all. It was okay.
Yeah, it's well made,
Yep.
well acted.
Neither of you have sold that to me.
I don't know.
It's one of those things. It's like, if it's just on, it's not going to piss you off. But again, if there's other films in the world you haven't seen, maybe you'd be better off just watching one of those, like Godfather.
Thing is, my watch list is so long now. And the Godfather 2 just went on the bottom of that list. So it's going to be a while till I get there, probably. Poke the bear. Poke the bear.
Don't poke the bear. And that missing half hour of audio that will never be found.
Okay, I've got what I have to talk about, and nobody's seen this one.
I might have. You
No, you haven't.
Really?
No, because this is one of my Camden movies. From up the video junction.
No one in the entire world will have seen this apart from you and the guy that owns that store.
Yeah, another note from the editor. You can find that movie in full in much better quality on YouTube if you want. Well, it's out of print, so I'd be impressed if anyone has. Okay, it has two names. It's either The Beast or Equinox. And this is the film that is reportedly the inspiration for the original Evil Dead movie, Gordon.
Oh, God. Really?
Yeah, you'll really enjoy this one.
Okay.
Okay, so the film starts with a guy with quiffed hair. I meant to look up, I should look this up really, because I wanted to know what year it was. It's 1960 something. But basically, this guy is running away from something terrible. And he sort of goes to his girlfriend's legs there, just sticking out with a bit of blood on her feet, going, "Oh, are you okay?" And then somebody goes behind him and he runs off. And then a car's coming down the road. And he's sort of waving this car down. And then there's a shot of the car coming down the road. And you can see there's a driver in it. And then there's a close-up of the car. And there's nobody driving the car. And the steering wheel's moving on its own. And then the shot goes down to the accelerator, and the accelerator depresses, and it runs him over. And then you see the car driving away with the driver in it again. That's how well made this is. It was made in 1970, and it is done with like Ray Harryhausen sort of stop animation, stop motion animation, and basically he ends up in an asylum, and they're going, what's wrong with him? And says, well, I took this tape of him when he first came in, and they play on the tape, and then we flash back to when they first arrive. 4 people going to a cabin in the woods. But the twist here is the cabin's actually destroyed. They never actually get as far as staying in the cabin. But they do find a creepy old man in a cave who laughs exactly like the bridge keeper from Monty Python and the Holy Grail. You want my book? You must answer me these questions 3. No, he doesn't say that, but if he had, that would have been even better. And they take this creepy leather-bound book away and start reading it. And there's actually these long, protracted scenes of them trying to decode what this book says. And there's also a very creepy ranger with the most amazing eyebrows you've ever seen. If you think Phil's eyebrows from Modern Family are impressive, this guy has like another 2 layers on top of that. And he's kind of I didn't really get the gist. I was doing the Rich thing of sort of half watching it because it lost my interest very quickly. But he has like this creepy ring, and he can summon creatures and demons and whatever, and he wants the book back. It's like, but the old man was in the cave all the time with the book. Why didn't you just go and get the book from the creepy old man in the cave? Why did you have to wait for a car full of teenagers to come and get the book from the creepy old man? But yeah, you get some really cool sort of, at one point, it's a squid that destroys the cabin. And there's a big ape-like creature and the flying demon, and it's insane. But it's so old and scratchy and just... It's one of those you love for it. So the bit I love the most is one of the guys is hurt by this monster, and there's a girl there with like a short bobbed blonde haircut, and all she does really through the whole thing is go, Dave, every 5 minutes. But they clearly forgot to do a couple of shots, so they went back to do some pickup shots. So they've got the location, but completely different woman with different length blonde wig. Just 2 shots. And you're supposed to not notice that she's an entirely different person. And they put this in. And I said, that's it. That's brilliant. I love this movie now. It actually gets 5.3 on IMDb. So...
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
That's a good one then. See, now you've reminded me of something else I watched the other night, and I can't for the life of me remember the name of it. I'm trying to find it now. But it had some of the worst dialogue I've ever heard in a film of any genre. It was the one character who couldn't finish a sentence without saying the name of the person he was speaking to.
No.
Boss.
I know somebody that does that, Rich.
Really? It was... Once you catch on to the fact that they're doing it, it's every sentence. And then sometimes he'll just say the name of the person he's speaking to because he's calling out. It's like, you must have read the script and thought, well, it's a job, I need to pay the gas bill and stuff. There's no way you read that script and thought this is going to be a cool film, because it was awful. I think it was another people eating people film or something, but a Korean one or something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know. I need to write them down. But then that's weird.
I'd also intersperse them with some other genres. Then they'll stand out a bit more amongst the crowd, you know.
That must be what's doing it. I don't know why I'm just getting quite into them. Maybe I'm actually quite sick and twisted inside and it's just coming out in movie form. I don't know.
We're all a little sick and twisted inside.
Yeah. I'm just beginning to worry that I'm very sick and twisted inside. That's the problem.
Well, we'll give you a list that'll tell you.
That's quite a few out there, yeah. Most of which we've seen.
I have been tested. I should be all right.
Now, I did watch one other, so we'll talk about. It's a 2011 British movie. It's called The Devil's Business. And it's basically a couple of hitmen told by their boss to go to this house and end a guy. And he's due back at a certain time, and they're sitting there waiting for him coming back. And it is lit beautifully, because they're in sort of half silhouette. And you've got like the young whippersnapper and the old grizzled Scottish guy hitman, who's got a glorious accent, Gordon, and he's telling stories while they're waiting for this thing. And the way it's lit, you could just see the reflection in his eyeballs and all this kind of thing, and it's really, really quite creepy. And then the guy comes back, and then I don't know, something happens. They hear a noise, so they go out and think, oh, he's back early. So they go out to find the shed, and there's like a pentagram on the floor and a dead baby, of course there is. And they freak out a bit, and then the guy comes back, and it up to that point, it's an okay movie. It reminds you of Kill List, if you've seen that. It's a similar sort of style. There's this story that runs throughout the thread, but it just reaches a point where the guy comes back to the house, everything kicks off from there, and the acting takes you out of it. It's over wordy. It's trying to be too cool for school. It's over sweary as well, which if that's too much, if there's too much emphasis on that, it drags me out of the movie. And there's just too much of trying to be cool talking, and it's like, no, you need to mix that with a bit of something happening. it can't just be all about you sitting talking shit, and it sort of loses its way. And it was a bit sad because it started so promisingly, and it's got all these amazing original blah 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 accolades, and I'm like, they're trying too hard. I don't know. So I wouldn't rush out and see it, but it's not terrible by the same token. There's a lot worse out there. But yeah, it was one of those. I was all on board, and then shit. Yeah, and there's a Gribbly at the end, and it just makes you laugh. Unfortunately, that also takes you out of it. Yeah, just the bad thing does you go, really?
Oh, really?
Is that it? This whole time? That's it? Oh dear. Never mind.
Yeah.
That ain't good.
So has anyone got anything else left in the wings?
I'll give what I've discovered as one last horror movie tip. Children of the Corn, the Stephen King story. There are 18 films, the Children of the Corn, whatever.
Yeah.
The first one, there's loads of them. Only the first one is based on a book, but the rest are just, let's make them forever. So they're probably all awful. But the first one is actually the first movie starring somebody called Courtney Gaines, who has been in a lot of stuff. He's a kid in this film because it's about children in corn. The title's a giveaway there. And what happened to him eventually was he grew up and played Hans Klopek in The Burbs. So watch Children of the Corn, but instead of watching it as Children of the Corn, watch it as a prequel to The Burbs. That's my little tip. And it puts a whole different slant on the whole thing there.
Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you who don't know Rich, his favourite film in the world is The Burbs.
Yeah, if you haven't seen The Burbs, watch The Burbs. But in fact, watch Children of the Corn first. And you'll go, hey, that's that kid from Children of the Corn, but he's a grown-up now. And now we know Hans Klopek's backstory.
That was actually the first time I saw The Burbs, was when Rich... That's the first time he gaffer taped me to a chair.
Yeah.
Made me watch a movie.
Did I? I don't remember.
Yes, I
that
saw
one.
it at your house.
Right.
Because I still hadn't seen it. You're like, you have to see
Smashing.
this film.
Well, I need to get the Godfather trilogy ordered on Blu-ray so you can watch that next time you're here. Can watch it as if there's some sort of option or something like that. It's like you are coming round to watch the Godfather trilogy. Or maybe I'll come down to you and we can watch it with Nick and he can also reinforce as to why it's one of the best films ever made.
Okay. Mi casa, su casa.
Yeah. That's what it is. In fact, no, I'm going to set this up now. You've asked for it. This is going to happen. We're having a Godfather marathon, so it's about 14 hours. Not that long.
Oh, Lavinia will be up for it. She loves them.
Yeah. 40 quid on Blu-ray for all three ends of behind the scenes. That's actually quite a lot of money. I remember it being less than that. Oh well, never mind. I need it again. I haven't got it on DVD at the moment. I traded them all in.
Huh.
Anyway. Ignore that. That's just me moaning about my life. Don't worry about it. That's irrelevant.
Cut it out if
Don't
you
feel
like.
sad. Yeah. Don't, it's all right. It just reached a point where I am up to my ears in boxes of DVDs in this room.
Oh,
It's
right.
like everything's on Netflix. I can't remember the last time I got a DVD out of a box, put it in a machine, and watched it. So they're all going, and I don't care what they go for or where they go. So I just took them all down to cash conversion.
Bloody hell.
And I think I just turned up and they're like, do you want to trade anything? And I just smiled. And like, here are 400 DVDs. Let's start scanning. It was great fun. And I was giving little reviews on each one as you scanned them. Like, that shit, you don't want to watch that. Oh, this one's good. This one's good. I don't know if I should... No, I'm trading it. Go on, keep going. I was in there for about a good 45 minutes.
Did you walk back out with any? Did you go, oh, no, this
No.
one's too painful, you can't have it?
The only one I brought back out with me was Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World, and that's because it went in there by accident.
Oh.
I wasn't parting with that willingly. And if you've never seen that, you are two guys who might well appreciate Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. If you've never seen
I
that.
have Mysterious
So-
Island.
No, it's a documentary.
It's got Patrick
It's-
Stewart in
it's
it.
like
Seen it.
I don't know what the thing is you're thinking about. I just know Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World. That's all. And it's Again, one of those things where he poses lots of questions to which the answer is no. Is this footage of Bigfoot? No. Did aliens build it? No.
Is this house haunted?
No. No. Just so many things. Like, every question you're going to ask me, Arthur, I'll save you some time. No.
Does this movie have a plot
None
or
of
a
it-
concept?
Yeah. Oh, it's not a plot. It's not a movie. It's entirely
No,
serious.
he was asking that about. Don't worry, I was trying to type it.
All right,
Trying to
sorry.
be clever.
Yeah, no, it's entirely serious. It's that's what makes it hilarious. And you sort of realise if a comedian had made it today, it would be one of the funniest things on television. You could remake it shot for shot, fake the interviews with people. It would be hilarious, absolutely brilliant.
Well,
So,
you can add that at the end of the Godfather trilogy.
yeah, I was going to say we can break up the Godfather trilogy with an episode of Arthur C. Clarke's Mysterious World.
Oh, what have I let myself in for?
Too much. Yep.
Okay, I've got one more, which I know we've all watched. Oh, I believe that Rich has watched this. I could be wrong. Odd Thomas.
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I did see that because I put a post on Facebook about this a long time ago, telling people to go watch. I don't think I haven't sent a comment in or review in. This was awesome. Again, it was stuck with Fright Fest, and I really watched it because I think Bosch you told us to watch it.
I saw it at Fright Fest. Yeah.
Yes, you did. Yeah, and it was brilliant. I don't. It's probably not really horror. It's more fantasy, I would think. Maybe a bit of horror. I don't know. But I loved this from beginning to end, and my little heart was broken at the very end.
Destroyed
So it
me.
was. I was a wreck
Me too.
by the end of it. I will not spoil. Maybe we can get spoilers. I don't know. It depends how much we want to talk about it. But this, if you people haven't seen it out there, it's well worth seeking out. It is on Netflix. I think it's on Amazon Prime over in the US as well. Please do seek it out. I don't think you're going to be disappointed by it. It is just a wonderful little movie. I don't think there's anything. And a couple of weird CGI shots in there, but that just adds to the charm of it for me. I just think it's amazingly acted, and it's just a beautiful little story.
I enjoyed Anton Yelchin in it a great deal.
Yes.
Plot-wise, I did feel it was very close to The Frighteners.
Yeah. I can see that.
But apart from that, yeah, I enjoyed it. It was a fun hour and a half. I've given it 3 stars on Netflix, and apparently that's quite an honour. So, yeah, it can't have been all that bad.
I'd push that to a 4 myself. It's the plot might seem a bit hokey now because it's been kicking around a long time. It's actually a Dean Koontz book, a series of books, and that film has made me want to go and find the rest of them. Unfortunately, they're not on Audible, which is annoying.
You're going to have to read, Boz.
I can't have time to read. It's frustrating.
I know, I agree. No, that's the trouble with reading, is you have to be doing that.
Yeah.
And that for me has always been a bit of a barrier. Whereas you can drive... God, you could get through so many audiobooks as you drive around.
I do.
Right.
I'm
You
finished
have
on Game of Thrones completely.
Do you have the 2 books a month Audible thing?
No, just one.
Right.
Because I have to mix them with podcasts to keep up with those. So...
Yeah, I actually, I must admit, as good as it is, I did cut off my Audible subscription some time ago just for time limits. But it is, I mean, God, I wish we were advertising that, but it's a really good service. I used to, the glee that came over me when it was Audible Book Day.
Yeah.
And it's just a great little thing. I recommend that to everyone.
I've taken Timo's advice. I've started on the Honor Harrington series, which loses me sometimes. It's very techie at times, but I'm in for the ride. I'll see. I'll give it a couple of books and see if it grabs me. But yeah, that's sci-fi. That doesn't fit here. But yeah, I always look for some good horror stuff on there, and it's hard to find. There is an Odd Thomas book, but I think it's like number 4 or 5. But so going back to Odd Thomas, though, that should have got a theatrical release.
Yeah.
There was talk about it, and it just maybe they thought it wouldn't sell, but the production values and everything else, it was good enough. It should have gone out in the cinema.
Yeah, definitely.
I'm stunned it didn't. There was nothing about that film that said to me it was not a theatrical released film.
Yeah.
It's got Willem Dafoe.
I know. It was always intended to be theatrical release, but nobody picked it up, and I have no idea why.
Directed by Stephen Sommers, who did all the Mummy films.
Stuff, yeah.
And, I mean, whatever you think, I always enjoyed those. But this is a guy who does Hollywood general release movies.
Yeah.
So,
Criminal.
I'm quite surprised at that. Did the G.I. Joe movie. Oh, the second one. Not seen that one. Might be awful.
Yeah,
Oh,
we talked about that
it's
one.
not good.
Right,
That might
okay.
be why it didn't come out of the cinema. That may have destroyed his career.
Possibly,
Right.
but it is a shame it didn't get a wider audience out there.
It really is.
It would have made a few million, I imagine, if it got released even for 1 or 2 weekends. It would have made its
It's
money
one of
back.
those. It's one of those that would have gone out. Not a lot of people would have known.
Yep.
But I think word would have got round, and it would have made more in its second week. You know.
I think it would definitely made all its money back, and maybe then, or being fairly close to it, depending on how much they only spend on marketing it.
Yeah.
But it is unfortunate, and just for everybody who's on this my side of the pond, Audible does have all the Odd Thomas books on there.
Does it?
Yes.
Why don't we have access?
It must be a rights
It's
thing or something.
I believe they're technically run as different companies.
So,
Annoying.
So even though Audible UK and Audible US are Audible, they're not run by the same people in the same office and that sort of thing.
Right.
but 'cause
I don't know the details, but that's how it works.
Yeah, I've downloaded the first one, and I've tried to listen to it in the car, and I keep switching it off because it's a very difficult one to listen to. Because I forgot that I've got a hard time reading Dean Koontz books, because he is just a writer that, to me anyway, that instead of using 4 words, he will use 40. He's very descriptive with everything. Like most people would just say, "And I walked out the door," and he just goes, "And I walked out this lovely oak door, which was blue and opened with the hinges of the sound of angels in the wind," or something like that. And you're like, "What the fuck?" And then the narrator for Odd Thomas is great narration, and it really sounds kind of a weak and feeble kind of guy. Maybe he's not, but he just has that voice where you can actually picture him as the kind of not the typical action hero or the typical hero you would see. And his voice and just the way that Dean Koontz writes it all just kind of makes it all flow, and you're like, "Oh, this is lovely. Oh, la, 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 la. Shit, I'm in a car." And what was I listening to? So I've kind of had to put it off that way, and it's finding it very difficult to try and find the right time where I can actually listen and pay attention so that all the details, I'm absorbing all the relevant information. But I do have that on there. But yeah, so if you are a US subscriber to Audible, it looks as though books up to number 5 are there. I don't know if they're... Oh, no, 6. Number 7, actually, and more I look. I don't know how many Odd Thomas books there are.
Bloody
but there's
hell.
at least 7 on Audible over here. I don't know how many books. I don't know if you know if the movie is just based off one book or more than one book, or...
No, that movie was book 1.
It was just book 1, okay.
Yeah, yeah. And really, what I liked about it is it was so faithful to the book.
Uh-huh.
Really faithful to the book. I was like, "Oh, I remember this. Oh, I remember that."
Yeah, from what I've been reading,
Where-
I can picture the movie in my head, or reading, listening to. I can picture the movie in my head. There's a few key differences, but it is a wonderful thing. And
The standout thing about that book is that it's a Dean Koontz book that ends well. Because his Achilles heel, I've always thought, is he doesn't end books well.
yes,
He can. There was one I adored the first third of the book, and I was so excited by it. And by the end, I was like, I don't care.
yeah,
It just gone completely the other way. So it's a bit hit and miss. But the Thomas series has always been very popular.
yeah.
So.
And the girl that plays Stormy is gorgeous. Just had to throw that in there to be the misogynistic guy.
Swoon.
Oh yeah, so not bad to look at for an hour and a half either. And that's me. That's all my list.
Well, we should probably wrap up then.
Okay.
Oh, if we have to.
Well, there is something slightly momentous that we would like to talk to our dear listeners about.
Yes.
And it's kind of fortuitous that we happen to have Rich on the show with us.
It is. How do we talk
Who's going to
about
say this?
Okay. I've been thinking about this and how we should be talking about this. Because this show, I believe, is going to be the end of an era, potentially. Because, once again, the little pot of horrors as we know it is coming to an end. But in a good way. Because from the next show, we are going to be under the banner of a Simply Syndicated Federated show.
Absolutely. Welcome aboard, guys.
Thank you, sir.
We didn't really introduce Rich that well, did we? So those who may not know who he is,
Yes.
Rich runs Simply Syndicated, which is the podcasting network responsible for us getting in front of microphones ever, all those years ago. It was the community that formed around that network and those podcasts and that show, and it's just grown and grown and grown. And that, for me, my entire love of podcasting goes right back to that point.
Yep.
Yeah, I always feel a bit of worry when somebody goes, and this is what they're responsible for. Oh my God. What have we done to your kids? What? I don't...
But no, it is very much through Simply Syndicated that, and the flagship show, Movies You Should See, that I got listening to a lot of podcasts, and through there, and like you say, the community and stuff is how Boz and I learned of each other. I guess, and many people I consider friends as well out there. It's all through the Simply Syndicated network, and to be asked to join and be one of the federated shows, along with our good friends over at Starbase 66, and we'll have to do lots of tags to plug everybody else. But to be included within that network is a great honour, and I think it's just the next step in the show. Hopefully, Mr. Boz has been working really hard on my absence. We've had some great shows. We've got some exciting things coming up with a really special guest.
Yes.
Stuff that we can't talk about yet. I really died to talk about, but it's so cool. And this has just been a great thing that's happened to us in the last couple of weeks. So thank you, Mr. Smith, for allowing us to be part of it.
You're very welcome. I'm looking forward to having you on there. And we'll get you. We need to get you guys on Movies You Should See and everything.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Boz is a podcasting whore. He's been on that like tons of times.
Yeah.
he gets everywhere.
He does.
though,
Is it a Simply Syndicated show that Boz hasn't been on? I'm not quite sure.
Greatest events in sport and history because the audio failed. It never went out, and they've never managed to
Oh, but
convince
you
me to go
did
back.
do it though. It did happen.
I did do it, yes.
You did do it. See.
There's quite a few.
I thought we were going to have to go back to like Crimes Against Food or something.
Yeah, Paddy's TV Surprise. Never been on that one.
Yeah, me either.
Craig Bevan's Movie Minutes. Never got on that one either.
Whatever happened to those? Whatever happened to those? I don't know.
Memories.
He's got them, you know. He won't give them to me.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're in a. Oh, every time I see him, it's like, oh, I should get you that. It's like, yeah, you should. Yeah.
They were
We've
awesome.
only been having this conversation for 3 years.
Well, he should do some more as well because I love those.
He should, but I wouldn't press him because he's got the small one now, and they've just had a kid. Oh, that was so mean. I'm sorry. That was so mean. That was just so
fine.
mean.
He'll never listen.
There's a little Bevan now, so his life involves being thrown upon and dealing with another human's poo.
Yep.
So that's fun, I imagine. That's in response to that, I'll say that's great, but I've just got a new MacBook Pro. That was the choice I made, and my computer plays Civ 5 better than your kid. So, there you go.
And I got mine back as well this week. I got it repaired, it's been broken for a while, but it does mean I can get to editing things a bit quicker. So hopefully it will expedite things that we are doing.
Sure we will.
There are a couple of, I say, other exciting things which may or may not happen, so I can't talk about them, but it's also happening at once, which is pretty amazing. We obviously I have been talking about the interview coming out on the 15th of September, with Owen Tooth, director of Devil's Tower. If you're not sick of me talking about that by now, tough, because I'm going to keep doing it because it was really exciting. Yeah, we're really looking forward to that launch date, and hopefully I'm going to bump into Owen again at Fright Fest, because he's done one of the at Fright Fest in between the movies. They have these little idents which are turn your bloody phone off. And it'll be basically somebody in the cinema eating food loudly, and the person behind them will just stab them through the skull with a knife. Or, sorry, not eating food loudly, picking up their mobile phone. You know what I mean? But yeah, basically, if anybody uses their phone, they just sort of die horribly. And he's also done one of those. So,
that's awesome.
Yeah, hopefully he'll be there on the day that airs. So we're going to have a new email address, a new web address, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, we'll get all that sorted out in this week. I don't know if people would have to... How do you run... This is a technical question that I should do off the air, but I'm going to do it anyway. How do you run your RSS feed? What does that go through?
It's all through Podbean.
I don't know. There's the possibility that listeners won't have to do anything.
Okay.
After the changeover. Like, if you just keep subscribed, it will iTunes will automatically skip you over to the new thing.
Oh, cool.
We'll see how that goes.
Okay.
The best thing to do is keep checking your website and your Twitter feeds and the Simply Syndicated stuff, and you're not going to disappear anyway. No. Put it that way.
We'll tweet at people when we know how it's working and so on.
Oh, heck yeah.
Yeah.
So it's all new exciting stuff happening, people. But nothing will change, hopefully.
Yeah, Gordon will still be wrong about horror movies.
I'll still be wrong about horror movies, yes. As you can see, maybe I'll get replaced because Rich seems to like more horror movies along with Boz than I do. Who knows? My hiatus is making me sad.
No.
He's finding all sorts of great guests and everything. But no, so hopefully things will start changing on my side too, where I can get back in more on a regular basis and things. But I certainly want to, once we start moving over to Simply Syndicated, which will be the next show, I imagine.
Yep.
Now we're not sure. I don't know if we're going to try and put a show out between then and the 15th of September, seeing as you do have Fright Fest. I don't know.
I'm going to try.
We'll see. Yeah. And I want to put something out too, with quick Fright Fest thoughts and things. So there may be a couple of things coming out, but the next official show you'll probably hear will be under the Simply Syndicated banner with a nice little tagline at the beginning.
And super excited, I've made cards and I've ordered T-shirts for Fright Fest, because I'm going to pimp the shit out of us at Fright Fest this year. I'm just going to be shameless. Have a card. Look at my T-shirt. And what was awesome is I got to the point of I need to make these things because there's obviously an order time to consider, and I thought, the email address will be wrong. So they're happening with Simply Syndicated addresses on them, which is super exciting.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hopefully you spelled it right this time. Anyway.
Fuck you. Sorry, sneezed.
I love my T-shirt dearly because of that. Even more so because of that. So
yeah, Rich, his the back of the first run of T-shirts say the little pod of horrors at mail.co.uk. Because
that's a good one.
Yeah, because the typey thing on the T-shirt thingy I used, a G looks a lot like an at, and there's an at and a G next to each other. So yeah,
the typey thingy.
Yeah.
Do you mean the keyboard?
No, the input box. There was a massive delay on it, and then you type a letter and it wouldn't appear. Then you press delete and it wouldn't delete. Then you press a letter again, and I fell out with it and somehow didn't notice that the G of the Gmail was missing.
It made me laugh for a long time when I saw that. As you can see, we know we've got a special run of that. There'll be no one in the world will have ones like that again. No. Which is awesome. But yes, so that's pretty much us then, I take it. That's been very exciting news, and I'm glad we left it to the very end to tantalise everybody.
Yes.
So on that note, are you going to take us out, Mr. Boz?
I will. Well, first of all, the massive thank you to Rich for coming on.
It's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Yes,
I've enjoyed it immensely.
And we will have to do it again because there's clearly a lot of films you didn't get to talk about.
Absolutely. I could honestly have gone on for hours. I'm not making that up. I can take you for a wild ride through Netflix horror section of many different countries. So yeah, I can go for ages with this.
Well, I think for next time, what we should do is me and Gordon put our heads together and we make a list of films that we think you might rate above a 3-star, and see how many of them you actually do. So
3 stars, 4 stars is difficult though. That's 4 stars is I would actively recommend it to someone else.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wouldn't wait to be asked, and that's tricky. You know, and 5, well, you know, that's only very special films.
We got some of them too.
Yeah, I mean, don't feel, I have to stress this with my film rating system. Don't feel bad about a 3. 3 is fine. Three's pretty good. You know, you'll enjoy a 3 movie. That's what I'd like to think. So some of the, you know, if they get a 3, it's good. That's good.
Well, we'll hopefully give you a list of 4s. So we'll see.
Cool.
Fingers crossed.
Cool.
So, for the last time ever, send your emails to thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.co.uk.com.
Way to go, yeah, there you go.
Gordon, come back already, I need you.
thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com. The Twitter handle will still stay the same though, it is @podofhorrors. And the Facebook page will stay the same too.
Yep.
I assume. I don't think there's going to be any changes on that one.
No.
And that is thriving. We're currently 4 likes away from 300. So come on, people. Woo! If you haven't liked us already, get over there. There's quite a few posts that go on there on a regular basis. At least once a week, if not twice a week. Mr. Boss is putting something on there, and I try and put something on there if I can. So please like us. We do get quite a lot of silly little pictures and stuff posted on there. Or videos of your phone turning into a monster in the microwave.
That was brilliant.
Yes, which it was. So if you don't know what we're talking about, you have to go to the Facebook page and find it. And until next time, bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
If you would like to send an email to the show, please do so at thelittlepodofhorrors@gmail.com. Also, why not go along to the website at www.thelittlepodofhorrors.com, and from there you can find links to our Twitter, Facebook, Google+, forum and blog page. Thanks for listening.